Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 2.2 ES diesel. Just 55,000 miles on this car, and this is one of the facelift models, as you can see from the restyled front end and the different alloys put on them. Finished in Milano red, which looks fantastic on these cars because the sort of the dark trims, black roof, really sort of offset that wonderfully. It's in lovely condition as well. Just go around the car for you. Front of the car is really clean and tidy. Lights and lenses clear and intact there, no condensation or cracks at all. Front of the car is really good. There's the odd very light stone chip, which you're obviously going to get on a car that's 9 years old, but they are very, very light indeed. Coming down the passenger side first, the near side, really nice and clean in the panels. Near side front alloy is really good. It's this new twin spoke design as well, which looks fantastic on the car. And the remaining panel works really clean and fresh. I'm doing this in the shade because it's the sun's lovely, but it really does glare, so I'm trying to make sure it picks up on anything I possibly can. Come back to the near side rear alloy, again really good. Just a odd light mark on that one, but they are very, very light indeed. Around the back of the car, and all very nice. You get these new style trim in the middle there by the exhaust pipes. It looks very, very smart indeed. And then down the offside, driver's side, again, very, very clean and tidy. Offside rear alloy, really good. And then remaining panels, again, really lovely order. There's obviously going to be the odd little mark that the camera doesn't pick up. You know, I do try and pick up as much as I can, but I just ask people to bear that in mind. And final alloy is absolutely wonderful. So certainly for a car of its age and mileage, it's a very, very good looking car. It's in lovely condition too. It's coming to the boot area now, which is absolutely cavernous on this Civics. They are huge. Obviously you get your 60/40 fold on the rear seats, and it's been kept very nicely back here. Normally underneath here you'd have a stowage area, but this one, rather nicely, has had a space saver wheel fitted as part of the boot, which is an option on the car actually, so you don't have to rely on the inflation kits. Coming to the back of the car now, all very clean and tidy, and loads of rear legroom on the Civics of course, and the fabrics on the seats are in fantastic condition. Front passenger door card, again as with all the others, it's in very, very nice condition, including little recesses. Full set of mats fitted to this car, and the front passenger seat there, again in really, really good condition. So finally, driver's door card, again all very clean and tidy. These later models have this new style, sort of like tungsten-y look or platinum-y look to the plastics. Far more scratch resistant than the earlier silver trims, which is why this one's in such nice condition. Again, driver's seat, very, very good, and obviously the one that takes most of the wear and tear. So sat inside the car now, engine's running for this section, so dash can be seen illuminated. And what a wonderful interior this is, beautifully made, and it's in fantastic condition as well. Just pull back here, I mean this I think still to this day and age is the best view you're going to get in this class of car. It's just a wonderful, wonderful dash design, and it's just been kept absolutely beautifully. Around the vents there, and the start button, and around this side here, you can see you've got this new style plastic. Looks like carbon fibre, but quite clearly isn't. But again, far more scratch resistant than the early gloss trim that they had there before. No warning lights on the dashboard, as you can see, apart from a low fuel light. Hopefully if I pan in there for you, you can see 55,026 miles, and all exactly as it should be. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. So finally, just to come under this absolutely beautifully presented engine bay from Honda, as is pretty much always the case. Absolutely superb engines, they really are. Cam chain driven, no cam belts to worry about, and this has been kept wonderfully well. Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 2.2 ES diesel. Car's registered RE60VMF and mileage at the start of the road test is 54,974 miles. As I always say, the reason we do the videos is very simple. It's basically so that anyone that's looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see the very car in operation. We want to be able to feedback any issues there might be with the car that would manifest themselves whilst driving the car, because we know just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which looks fantastic in the advert and in the description, only to drive it to find out it's got a fundamental issue which clearly should have been told about. It's also done on these very quiet country roads, generally speaking, very close to our premises. The reason we do it on this road is it's the same, or part of the same test drive route that any prospective buyer would go on, so hopefully be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive in the car. The car itself, as you'll know from the advert, has been very, very well looked after. Serviced less than 1,000 miles ago by the Honda main dealers. It feels incredibly tight, so it comes as no surprise. No, it drives as well as it does. Engine, I mean, they're fantastic engines, they really are, and this one's no different. With such a low mileage, you'd expect it to be good, and it's absolutely fantastic. It starts absolutely instantly, of course, settles to an absolutely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. I'll check the temperature gauge in a second because the car's only been running for a few minutes, so when we're up to full temperature a little bit later in the video. The engines, as I said, there's a few things really. They're so smooth. It's only in the very lowest gears, first and second, you're really aware this is a diesel. Up at speeds like this, you could easily be driving a petrol engine, but not only because it's smooth and quiet, but also that its power delivery. It's not like so many turbo diesels where they got nothing, then loads, and then nothing again. This has got a really nice linear power delivery, so you get the power spread through the rev range really, really well. So good on my wife to pull over for me. There we are. But yeah, fabulous units, really are. Engine then feeds the clutch into gearbox. Clutch is absolutely spot on. Bike point's exactly where it should be on the pedal travel, so all good there. Gearbox, 6-speed gearbox, of course, and what a fantastic gearbox these are. It's one of the, it's certainly in my opinion the best in class, for lots of reasons. Not only is it tough and reliable as you expect from any Honda gearbox, but it also happens to be just so slick in the way it operates. The gear changes have kind of it's just kind of I don't know, it's just what slices into gear. That's the best way I can describe it. But it's so accurate in the gear change, and that's really hard to achieve when, as with most front-wheel drive cars, the gear linkage is via cables. So basically, there's no direct connection between this and the gearbox. It's a cable that runs through to the outside of the box, and it means that some gear changes can be really vague and long and throw, or just lifeless, but this is just brilliant. I mean, it's a gearbox that wants you to use it. Once you've used it a couple of times, it just becomes second nature. It's wonderful. I can't feel any wear in it at all, by the way. Absolutely perfect. Steering of the car, tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at all coming back through the steering at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But what's fantastic about this generation Civic is just the immediacy of the steering. It's really quick in the rack, so go through corners like this, you hardly have to turn the wheel. It's just a tiny little movement. The chassis follows faithfully. It's it'd be pointless having really good steering if the chassis was kind of flaccid and slow and sloppy, but this is just superb because the chassis is sharp as well. As soon as you turn, the car goes with it. So for the enthusiastic driver, they love these cars. Chassis, by the way, as I said, really direct, wonderful damping at speed, but it's a precision when you go through the corners, which is superb. And also the ride, it rides really well on surfaces, most surfaces. The only time it gets caught out, as with most modern cars in fact, is the kind of the sharper ridges, potholes, that kind of thing. But don't be misled. It's not a harsh ride at all. I know some motoring magazines say it is. It's only the rougher surfaces where you feel it's harsh in any way. But as I said, it shares that with other cars that run on sort of lower profile tyres. Chassis, by the way, no noises coming from underneath that shouldn't be there. When you hit a bump, you'll hear it hitting a bump, but you don't get any kind of secondary sort of chatterings or rattlings at all. Just make sure there's no one directly behind me. Give the brakes a good old shove, but yeah, the brakes are absolutely fine. Lovely brake pedal. What I'm looking for when you just don't want any sort of vibrations or pulsing coming back through the brake pedal, and there's nothing there at all. And it also pulls the car down nice and straight. It doesn't pull violently left or right. Looking round inside the car, I mean, we've not cleaned it yet, so it's very clean in here, so it hardly needs it. And I'm using the car on a daily basis actually now. It's just I just love these dashboards, and I know it polarizes opinion because some people like it and some people don't. But what I've always loved about it is not only does it look fantastic in my eyes, and especially at night when it's illuminated, it still looks fresh in this day and age. It's the fact that it's not just for show. It works. I mean, it's got radio, simple to operate, but the stuff that's high up is the stuff you want to look at on a regular basis. So you've got your radio, climate control readouts up there. Climate control, by the way, blows out lovely cold air. But that's high up, so you're not taking your eyes off the road. Same with the speedo, which is brilliantly positioned. And for safety reasons, it's fantastic, but also protects your driving license, because you can keep your eye on your speed at all times without taking your eyes off the road. It is utter genius in the way it operates. Down below that, you've got this wonderful kind of floating dial effect. It's big rev counter with this lovely sort of blue kind of hue that sort of goes around it. It just looks absolutely superb. It really does. Flanked by the fuel gauge and temperature gauge. Temperature gauge, by the way, now up to operating temperature. That's up to a third on the gauge, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car, by the way. Everything else works exactly as it should. You've got auto wipers, auto lights, cruise control, just show you there, it works again exactly as intended. Everything does, the blinds, the power folding mirrors. I mean, it's been very, very well looked after, this car, and it drives brilliantly. The point, as I said at the start of the video, is to pick up any issues. There's nothing to pick up on this at all. It just drives incredibly tight. It does not feel like a car that's 9 years old in any way. And I'm not giving it any allowance for its age and mileage. I'm judging it by, when it was new. And to me, it's very hard to differentiate between one or the other. And I've been selling Honda cars now for well over 20 years. So I sort of know these cars intimately. So if there was something manifestly wrong with it whilst driving the car, then I'd pick up on it. But it just drives beautifully. As always, though, if there's anything on the video that I've missed or any questions about the car you need to know, don't hesitate, do give us a call.